if JDM defends and wins defends that title against Islam, who better than to say, okay, let's solidify him as the new generation of champion by taking on the biggest name, the former pound for pound in the division.
Kamaru Usman has made it clear that he isn't interested in anything less than the winner of the blockbuster welterweight showdown between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena.
Because they wanted to see, hey, are you still that guy? Can you still hang with these guys? Can you still do your thing? And I've done that. I've went in and I've showed him that, so I'm not worried.
The former pound-for-pound king believes he has already proven himself worthy, pointing to his last performance against Joaquin Buckley as all the evidence needed for the UFC to grant him that spot. Even though matchmakers might push him to get through another fight before handing him a direct path to the gold, Usman insists that he has already done enough to remind the division that he is still the name to beat.
If JDM defends and defends that title against Islam, who better than to say, okay, let's solidify him as the new generation of champion by taking on the biggest name, the former pound for pound in the division? Of course, me. And listen, and then of course, if Islam wins, pound for pound versus pound for pound fighting, I mean, I'm not really worried here. You know, I've done my job to let them know, because they wanted to see, hey, are you still that guy? Can you still hang with these guys? Can you still do your thing? And I've done that. I went in and I've showed them that, so I'm not worried.
That potential opportunity lies in the main event of UFC 322, where Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena will headline Madison Square Garden on November 15th. The matchup is being billed as one of the biggest tests for both men, with styles that could clash at any moment. Makhachev brings suffocating wrestling and world-class control, while Maddalena carries relentless pressure, slick boxing, and the ability to finish fights at any moment. Fans are bracing for a night where striking and grappling could flip the momentum back and forth until one fighter finally takes over.
Islam Makhachev is going to be fighting Jack Della Maddalena. How do you think those two match up?
I think Jack's fight against Bilal was a perfect fight for leading into that. Just purely, you take a lot out of stop and takedowns, because again, every fighter's still going to have little doubts that are going to creep in. You know, I'm sure Jack was going through that, being like, all right, like, you know, worried about, you know, what if he takes me down and all that. But the fact that he was able to stop it and feel so comfortable, I guarantee you he's leveled up again. His confidence in his takedowns has just went up significantly leading into this fight. I think his confidence is going to be at a whole nother level. So through camp, like, I guarantee you, if he's back in training right now, people trying to take him down are going to find it almost impossible. You know, only the top guys are going to have a chance of taking him down, and they're going to have a very hard time even holding him down.
As soon as talk of the fight began, George Masvidal chimed in with his own view. Having seen the toll of weight cuts up close, Masvidal suggested that Makhachev may be walking into a trap by moving up to 170 pounds, and while the Russian has been dominant at lightweight, jumping into a division filled with naturally larger fighters can expose weaknesses that were never visible before. Masvidal leaned toward Maddalena being the man to exploit that reality, pointing to the Australian's fearlessness, aggressive style, and his impressive short-notice performance against Bilal Muhammad as reasons why this fight could end in a shock upset.
I've seen Islam, bro. He's a big guy. He's sucking out a lot of weight to get to 55. I think he might start doing better at 70. Problem is, though, Jack is special. We're gonna see just how special he is if he beats Islam Jack, #1 pound for. Wow, that's impressive. You know, I'm leaning towards Islam, brother.
Oh, really?
You know, but I really think it's gonna be a tough fight for him, but a great fight, man.
Jack was able to defend takedown attempts by Bilal.
Bilal has the best cardio in MMA, but Bilal doesn't have Islam's technique. Not same technique. Not same. Very good, very aggressive. Bilal never stops. A dog. Attack. But Islam is like smart, man. Boom. You know, Islam's level of wrestling is above. His stand-up game is improving. I don't think he could go stand-up in the beginning with Jack. Jack has way better hands, way better range, faster, stronger. But as the rounds go on later and later, he could do.
Stephen Thompson took the direction in a different direction. While he respects Madalena's skills, Thompson voiced the opinion that the rising star may be taking on too much too soon. With contenders like Shavkat Rakhmonov and Ian Gary waiting for their chance, Thompson felt that Madalena's rapid leap into a title fight might rub some fighters the wrong way. In his eyes, the Australian's potential is undeniable, but making such a dramatic step up in competition carries serious risks.
Who do you think wins that fight between Islam and Jack Della Maddalena?
Well, first off, I gotta say, if I was Shavkat Rakhmonov or Ian Gary or somebody that is right there who's really worked hard to get there, I'd be pretty pissed. Because, you know, this guy, JDM, just got the title, and then he's giving somebody else a shot at what I've earned the right to have, you know, which is the title shot. Like, give JDM a shot at, you know, give him one or two more guys. If he beats them, then give him somebody outside the division. But I would be kind of pissed. I would be kind of upset that they're giving this guy immediately somebody from 155 division. Now, I think it's a very tough fight for Islam Makhachev. Bigger guy, somebody who won the title from somebody with a similar style in Bilal Muhammad. Mm-hmm. I do believe that Islam Makhachev striking is a lot better than Bilal Muhammad's, but their pressure, their cardio, their wrestling background, fairly similar. Obviously, I think one would be better than the other, but he's faced somebody a lot exactly like him. So I think it would be a tough fight for Islam for sure.
Meanwhile, Maddalena hasn't been without top-level support and preparation. Craig Jones, one of the most respected Brazilian jiu-jitsu coaches in the world, has been in this corner. Known for sharpening the grappling defense of fighters like Alexander Volkanovski in their battles with Makhachev, Jones has been working to help Maddalena close the gap on the ground. If Maddalena can keep the fight standing and stay out of Islam's traps on the mat, his striking could be the decisive factor in the bout.
Islam relinquish his belt and go up to 170. Got JDM taking on Islam Makhachev. I still think Islam's skill for skill is just so high level. For him to go out there and do what he did against Bilal was very impressive, made that Islam fight more interesting. If JDM can shut him down and throw those hands, but Islam's boxing is underrated. That dude is slick. His kickboxing, his timing, like he's a high level black belt in every aspect of him.
Ian Gary echoed that sentiment by highlighting takedown defense as the key to victory. He believes Maddalena's size and strength at welterweight could make it difficult for Islam to impose his usual wrestling dominance. If Maddalena can stuff the shots, Gary sees the fight turning into a striking contest, an arena where the Australian shines. The matchup, in his view, hinges entirely on whether Makhachev can drag Maddalena down and keep him there.
Who do you think wins, Jack or Islam?
It's such a tough one to talk about. Islam is phenomenal. He's good everywhere. Size matters. When you're talking about an extra 15 pounds, when you look at the size of Volkanovski versus Jack Della Maddalena, there's a big size discrepancy. And Volk gave him a good fight. And then Dustin Poirier, it wasn't absolutely completely dominant by his time. It was a tough fight. Size is going to play a huge part. Even on the ground, I feel like Jack could get it done with just some clean boxing and good takedown defense. But I can absolutely see Islam coming in and doing what Islam does and going out there and just looks like the phenomenal mixed martial artist he is.
Even Sean O'Malley admitted the fight is intriguing, though he framed it as a stepping stone to an even bigger showdown down the line. Makhachev against Ilia Topuria. Still, O'Malley pointed out that if Maddalena is able to shut down takedowns and start letting his hands go, this fight could turn from tactical to explosive very quickly.
Islam relinquish his belt and go up to 170. Got JDM taking on Islam Makhachev. I still think Islam's skill for skill is just so high level. For him to go out there and do what he did against Bilal was very impressive, made that Islam fight more interesting. If JDM can shut him down and throw those hands, but Islam's boxing is underrated. That dude is slick. His kickboxing, his timing, like he's a high level black belt in every aspect of MMA.
Big belt. Who give him that?
Jack versus Islam, I think, is huge. Not as big as Ilia versus Islam, but who knows? Maybe they both win and Islam comes back down to 55 and the fight's even bigger.
Robert Whittaker had a more favorable take in Makhachev's move to welterweight. Having experienced brutal cuts to make 185 himself, Whittaker sympathized with Islam's struggles at lightweight and felt that moving up could actually unlock an even better version of the Dagestani champion. He suggested that the strength Islam carried at 155 would translate well, much like Topuria's rise in weight. For Whittaker, this fight represents exactly the kind of test that has fans eager to see how great fighters adapt when changing divisions. Sean Brady was far more bullish in Madalena's chances than most. He stressed that keeping the fight on the ground is not where Madalena's problems lie, it's staying there. Brady emphasized Madalena's scrambling ability and size, arguing that even if he is taken down, he has the explosiveness to get back up. For him, Islam is walking into a much trickier puzzle than many fans realize.
Speaking of the Islam and Jack fight, what are your early thoughts on that fight?
I think it's a lot tougher of a fight for Islam than people are giving Jack credit for. Like, Jack's very hard to hold down. He's a big body, hits like a freight train, has knockout power, and he showed, like, yeah, you can getting someone down doesn't mean dick. Can you hold them down? Jack's really good at creating scrambles, getting back to his feet, separating hands. Like, we've seen that with Bilal. Gilbert did better at taking Jack down than Bilal did. He had better positions on him, but yeah, I don't know. Selfishly for me, I would want Islam to win because I want to fight Islam as for a legacy thing. Yeah, and I think I can beat Islam. I think I can beat anybody in the world. And I want to grapple. I want my grappling to go against his grappling and see who's better. You know, I really would love for that to play out. But if I had to pick, and I know Jack would be the underdog, I would pick Jack.
Daniel Cormier, though deeply familiar with Islam's dominance, raised the question of how effective that style will be against men who are naturally bigger and stronger. He suggested that Madalena's best chance would come if he can survive early and force Islam to expend more energy than usual. In such a scenario, openings may appear as the fight wears on.
JDM don't wrestle, but he was defending well, and he puts damage on you.
Off rip.
Starts putting damage on you. And he can box.
So how do you see that fight with him and Islam? Does he have the ability to beat a guy like Islam?
He'll get takedown attempts coming at him very early. This time. The last fight, he didn't have to deal with that when he was fresh. If Islam can start to pressure him early and take him down early, or even just make him wrestle, he might struggle. I don't know that he's ever felt anything like he's going to feel, because it's not going to be double legs and single leg with Islam. It's going to be him playing with his feet, tripping him, moving around on the octagon side, doing things that he don't recognize as freely.
But she didn't answer the question.
The problem is, I can only give you that because I can't truly make a prediction. The job doesn't allow it.
At the same time, Luke Rockhold pushed back against doubts about Islam's move upward. Having trained with him, Rockhold has seen the benefits firsthand. Without the strain of shedding to 155, Islam has appeared stronger, faster, and fresher. Rockhold believes that this added energy will make his trademark chain wrestling even more dangerous, giving him the ability to pressure relentlessly without slowing down.
Do you see him beating JDM to win that welterweight title?
That's a tough fight. That's a very tough fight. It's going to be interesting. You know, I think those are my three favorite fighters in the UFC right now. We go Islam, Topuria, and JDM. JDM's he's fun to watch. So, I mean, that's going to be a great fight. You know, he's no slouch at wrestling, but you have a guy that's wrestled his whole life and grappled his whole life versus JDM, who's kind of like, he's secondary on that, but, you know, you never know. He's a bigger guy. So, you know, we'll see how Islam, how he bulks up and how he looks. He looks a lot bigger than what I remember. I used to train with him forever. So, I mean, he's definitely grown. You know, we'll see how he carries the weight.
Yoel Romero has been more focused on Madalena's growth. He praised the Australian's fight IQ and conditioning, qualities he believes will carry him further than most expect. Romero particularly admired how Madalena looked sharp against Bilal Muhammad despite stepping in on short notice, which he saw as a sign of a fighter with a high ceiling.
Yoel Romero gives his honest take. Yoel Romero just shared his thoughts on a potential showdown between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena, and it's a must-hear. Romero believes that Maddalena, while being a big 170-pounder, might face a tough challenge against Makhachev's superior grappling. Do you think Jack's striking can beat Makhachev's grappling?
Dustin Poirier, who has faced Islam personally, highlighted a more technical layer. He argued that Makhachev's striking style, though effective, has awkward tendencies that a crisp boxer can exploit. Poirier's view was that if Maddalena can set the tone early, stuff the initial shots and put Islam on the defensive, the fight could tilt his way.
If you're worried about takedowns, you know, your shots are different. You're not sitting on everything and standing in front of the guy. You're trying to move and be light on your feet. I think the first 2 rounds will tell us how this fight's going to go.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if he wins and Ilya wins, because Ilya's also saying this week he wants to go up to welterweight if he wins this, which, as you said, would stall out the division further. I don't think the other lightweights want that, but I couldn't imagine 5'7" Ilya fighting at 170.
However, Belal Muhammad disagreed strongly. Having just experienced Makhachev's control firsthand, Belal declared that the Dagestani's grappling was on another level. He sees Maddalena being smothered and shut down like so many before him.
How do you think Islam versus JDM goes down? Honestly, I think Islam will probably take it down. Like, Islam's wrestled really good. Like, even with me, I like really committed to it, I took it down. Their team's so good at like hacking in a game plan and sticking to it. You said that you kind of abandoned the game plan a little. You think if you got a rematch, you would change the game plan a bit? No, I mean, honestly, I think I won three rounds, but you have to go out there and make it more clear. When you get into the cage and you're fighting, right, you get into that, oh, like, all right, I feel like striking it. Let's keep going. I was doing well with it. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. If your coach is trying to get you to focus on the game plan again, it's like, man, I'm doing well with it. You're thinking you're doing better than you are. Every fight, you gain something from it, right? This fight, I gained something from it.
Dan Hardy was cautious in his outlook. He acknowledged Makhachev's greatness, but warned that moving divisions is never a guaranteed success. Hardy seemed less certain about how Islam will look at 170 and even questioned how long Maddalena could realistically hold on to the belt if he manages to pull off the upset.
I think Della Maddalena's got a bright future. I don't know whether he's going to hold the belt or, you know, he's going to lose it to another one of the top contenders and then pick it back up again. I don't think he's going to lose it to Makhachev, though. I think Makhachev holds the lightweight belt against anybody in the world, you know, on any day, you know, including Ilia Topuria. I don't think if he moved up, he would have much success against Makhachev. But Della Maddalena looked very, very sharp against Belal. And I wonder what Makhachev would look like as a welterweight, you know, whether he would look as strong and as lean or whether he would look heavier.
Max Holloway reminded everyone of Maddalena's intelligence inside the cage. Holloway saw him as a fighter capable of making adjustments mid-fight, a rare trait that could be pivotal when going up against a tactician like Islam. For Holloway, both men bring unpredictability, making this clash one of the most exciting of the year.
How do you think Islam versus JDM goes down? Honestly, I think Islam will probably take it down. Like, Islam's wrestled really good. Like, even with me, I like really committed to it. I took it down. Their team's so good at like hacking in a game plan and sticking to it. You said that you kind of abandoned the game plan a little. You think if you got a rematch, you would change the game plan a bit? No, I mean, honestly, I think I won three rounds, but you have to go out there and make it more clear. When you get into the cage and you're fighting, right, you get into that, oh, like, all right, I feel like striking it. Let's keep going. I was doing well with it. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. If your coach is trying to get you to focus on the game plan again, it's like, man, I'm doing well with it. You're thinking you're doing better than you are. Every fight, you gain something from it, right? This fight, I gained something from it.
Gilbert Burns sided more with the idea that moving to welterweight was the best choice Islam could make. He's familiar with how draining lightweight cuts are, and he believes Islam will now be able to perform at his absolute peak. However, Burns also cautioned that Maddalena's ties with elite coaches like Craig Jones and Alexander Volkanovski could be the kind of factor that makes this fight less straightforward than most people assume.
What did you think about the Islam vacating the belt and going up and immediately getting a shot at the welterweight bout? And what do you think about that? And how different is that fight going to play out than what we saw versus Belal?
That's going to be a great fight. Islam is working very hard. He's been saying vocal that he wants to go up to 170. I think he's big. I think he's a big boy. He killed himself to make 55. I think that's the right division for Islam. He just tweeted something after the fight that he will not vacate the title, and then he vacated the title. I don't know. I think he was a little, okay, if you're going up, we gotta, I don't know, but probably that was in the negotiation. And yeah, I like him moving up. I've proven himself. He's #1 pound for pound right now. It's a good fight. Jack and Islam closer than people think, especially with Jack Della Maddalena doing a lot of training with Volk, with Craig Jones, those guys that kind of crack the Islam on that first Volk fight. I think they're gonna have a lot of info, a lot of study, a lot of answers. It's closer than people think, this fight. I really like this fight. I don't have time right now. I didn't have time to dig deep a little too much on that fight, but I think it's way closer than people think. And JDM has a clear shot on beating Islam, you know?
Israel Adesanya, with his experience against world-class wrestlers, viewed Maddalena's path as one based in distance and discipline. If the Australian can use his length, keep the fight at range, and make Islam hesitate, he could force mistakes. But Adesanya was quick to warn that Makhachev is unpredictable with his wrestling entries, which keeps opponents on edge every second. That, in opinion, leaves Maddalena with almost no margin for error.
How are we feeling about that? I think Della is going to get it done. I feel from talking to Tim and also seeing Della, and also I've only sparred Della once, like not really hard crazy, but And I didn't try and take him down at all, but I've seen him at your gym sparring, and his scrambles are crazy.
Yeah, he's good.
Even
with
watching him
scrambles.
with Bilal as well, and Gilbert Burns, his scrambles are crazy. And I feel Islam would feel like he bit off more than he could chew once he gets in there with him, because when he puts some things on him, he's like, oh shit, I'm not standing with this guy, I have to take him down. And then he tries, gets him down, and he gets back up, or he couldn't get him down, because he's a big dude. People don't realize how big Della is as well. He's solid. So I really
Dense, man, just dense.
Dense, yeah. Like when I felt, like I said, we're sparring, and then it's just the weight behind it, and the way he throws it, the body banging, man, fucking good.
Charles Oliveira, who has been on the receiving end of Islam's suffocating ground control, respected Madalena's calm and methodical style. He admitted that the Australian's striking, especially his ability to chip away at opponents over time, could cause problems if he's able to drag the fight into the later rounds.
O que você acha que ganha entre o Jack Della Maddalena e o Islam?
Maddalena, ele é um jogo muito complicado, porque ele é um cara que ele não vem pra te nocautear rápido, ele vem pra te finalizar, ele vem te magoando, né?
Aos poucos, né?
Aos poucos. Foi o que ele fez agora na luta contra o Bilal. Só que eu acho que o Isla vai se dar muito bem nessa categoria, né, mano? Agora vai estar muito mais forte, é um jogo que, tipo, ele gosta de agarrar e botar pra baixo. Eu acho que o Jack Maddalena fazia a mesma luta que ele fez, né? Agora contra o Bilal, batendo, movimentando, saindo, machucando, é uma luta, mas se deixar o Isla agarrar e botar pra baixo é o time.
All these voices weighing in, the stakes continue to rise. UFC 322 is shaping up not just as a test for Makhachev's ability to carry his dominance into a new weight class, but also as the chance for Maddalena to solidify himself as one of the brightest stars in the sport. And waiting in the wings is Kamaru Usman, eager to prove that whoever walks out of Madison Square Garden with the belt still has one more mountain left to climb.